First of all, thank you for coming. Thank you for sacrificing your Saturday today to come and support me and to spend time with me and to come and see what it is that I do. This is like for important people, and I am a very casual person, so I probably will walk around a lot. One of the things that I was reading about today as I was trying to prepare for this little event, because I still have no idea what I'm going to say, so it's going to be a surprise to all of us. My little book, one of my favorites, my Jesus Calling book. We are people of faith. We're Christian people who believe in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And what I invite people to do is, if you don't believe the way I believe, it's probably got gum on it, but you can tell I use it a lot. That's okay, because we're not really here to look at our differences. What we're here to look at are the things that we can learn together and what we can agree with together. And if you are a mom, if you're a grandparent, if you are a woman, if you are a husband, if you have a family, then there are things that are going to be common to us, okay? Maybe our religious practices are not, but because of my background and because of who I believe in, that is what you're going to hear, all right? Now, one of the first things I did was I tried to prepare to ask God exactly what does he want to do with this thing, because every time I talk to somebody or I get up and I do a performance, it's always different. And so I never know from one end to the next what it is that I'm going to do. And if anyone knows me, you know my mother. And if you know my mother, then you would know how difficult it is for me to walk in and be in a group in front of people and not know what in the ham biscuits I am going to say. I'm just like, Lord, anytime. You can drop a scroll, you can send an angel, you can just, make the sky shimmer or something and just give me like a bullet point list of what it is that I'm supposed to do. But that's not how it works. I was reading this morning, one of my favorite books, keeps me grounded, and something that I like to keep in my purse. So I tried to keep my literary works small so that you can keep it in your purse, because as busy women, as people, we don't have time to stop at a library. We don't have time to stop at a coffee shop, but you do have time when you're at a doctor's office, at a dentist appointment, while you are just wasting time for your turn. You can pick up something and you can give 3 minutes of attention, and that's what I try to do. All right, so let me share with you what I got this morning, and then I hope that it will bless you. This lady, Jesus Calling, Sarah Young, I almost couldn't read her name, and I broke my glasses. So, oh my gosh, if I'm squinting, that's why, because I can't see. All right, so she wrote this book, Jesus Calling, and so I use it because it helps me in my everyday. I have 3 kids. I don't have a lot of time to sit and give God hours and hours and hours and hours. But I can give him 10 of the best minutes of my day where I have nothing else going on in my head, where I don't have my phone ringing, where I don't have a to-do list. I can give him that. And that solid 10 minutes, I believe that I am blessed in that 10 minutes, not because of the quantity of time, but the sacrifice that I made to cut everything else out and say, God, this is me and you right here, right now, okay? So now, this is, and I spent more time than 10 minutes on this morning, so no worries. So this is what I read this morning. Keep walking with me along the path I have chosen for you. Your desire to live close to me is a delight to my heart. I could instantly grant you the spiritual riches you desire. Did we just not talk about that? That I really wanted him to talk to me and just tell me exactly what it was I was supposed to do, so I didn't have to guess at it and still stand up here while I'm talking to you wondering, Lord, what am I going to say? But that is not my way for you. Together, we will forge a pathway up the high mountain. The journey is arduous at times, and you are weak. Someday you will dance light-footed on the high peaks. But for now, your walk is often plodding and heavy. And he should have added kicking and screaming, because you're hard-headed and you're stubborn and you don't trust me. Though the path is difficult and the scenery dull at the moment, there are sparkling surprises just around the bend. Stay on the path I have selected for you. It is truly the path of life. That is wonderful. That is fantastic. And what an excellent segue. Why? Because before we get into this little piece of literature right here that I was so blessed to write, you would have to understand, what is the story behind it? I mean, don't you want to know? Kind of curious Why is it that this prodigal, that this wild child, that this hot-tempered thing would sit up here suddenly and say, hey, I've got a message from the Lord? It reminds me of one of my kids' movies, Jonah and VeggieTales. If you've got kids, do y'all know about VeggieTales? Because, I mean, really. So I got a message from the Lord. Well, okay, so what changed me from where I was? And some of you guys have been traveling with me for over 20 years, and you know what's going on. Well, you see a difference, I hope. Okay, to what I am right now. Very simple. The instrument of my change came into those two little guys right there, Miles and Nathan, the loves of my lives, their father, Anthony Howard, and then that sassy, beautiful, wonderful chocolate drop, Alyssa Nicole. That was my instrument of humbling. That was the unspoken thing that comes with motherhood that, you know, you're not told about. You're all told about the pregnancy and the baby and how to eat and get your rest and your vitamins and your this, that, and the third, not the fact that they're going to change your life, okay? It's a good change, but you can't go back to where you were. Once you have knowledge, you can't go back to being ignorant. There's no way you can go back into that ignorant state. That's just the way of things. Miles and Nathan are fantastic. They are also funny. They are witty. They smile a lot. They eat a lot. Their feet grow a lot. They are also autistic, and Nathan also has kidney disease. In the first year of his life, we lived at Cardinal Glennon, off of 44. Literally, we did not know, and I had to quit my job, that 401k, that wonderful little piece of nest egg that you thought you had. You go through it in less than 6 months. Anthony had 2 rounds of layoffs. So you went from making it and having something and being comfortable in your bondage to having nothing and just free falling. Well, that was hard, but it was also a breaking point for me to understand what is important and what is not important, okay? There's always a sale, there's always a new model, there's always new tech. That is not enough to sacrifice your family for, okay? Your job, whether you are working outside of the house or in the home, you're still mom. Mom needs to structure the house. Mom needs to put her mark on the house just like dad needs to put his mark on the house. And there's nothing more important when you have children but to have a structured household where those kids feel safe, where they can learn, where they can express themselves. There's nothing else more important. And if anything takes your attention away from that, then guess what? It needs to go, okay? So, what did I learn about Miles' autism? Well, it was kind of learned on the fly. I think it's kind of blurry, but around the same time Nathan was born, they're 21 months apart, and yay, bouncing baby boys, woo! Fantastic, great. Nathan has kidney disease. He's gonna be in a hospital. We don't know if he's gonna make it. Prepare for the worst. Even if he lives, he's not gonna walk. Yada, 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 a whole bunch of stuff. And oh, by the way, Miles is autistic. Really? Really? I was mad, I was angry, but I couldn't react to anything because life was happening so very, very quickly. Fast forward 10 years. The boys are doing fantastic. Nathan is walking and talking, jumping and playing. He's doing wonderful. God has been good and faithful to us. Miles is talking. He's walking around in middle school. He eats what he wants. He can read, okay? Anthony and I have more gray hair. I dye mine. He goes au naturel. And outside of occasionally killing each other, we are doing just fine. Okay, how did you get there from that point in the beginning up to here, and where did this come in? I have 3 degrees. I always thought that once you got your degrees and once you got your schooling, that you went to school, you got a job, you bought a house, you were successful. You went on a couple of vacations, you had a little savings, you could go out to eat a couple of times a week. That is life. You have made the big time now. You don't have to shop at Aldi's, you can shop at Dearborn's. What? How exciting is that? No more Save-A-Lot here. We are in the big leagues. That's what I called success, but that's not what God called success. Because in my pursuit of those things, I forgot about God. In my pursuit of those things, I told God that He didn't matter. It wasn't Easter, it wasn't Christmas, okay? Nobody was sick. I'm working with my hands. Checks are coming in. Don't really need you. I'll teach the kids the Lord's Prayer, but I'm not going to say it because I got this. Not understanding that God is so mighty and so awesome and so powerful, but yet he cares about my everyday. And he cares about your everyday. And so what I was doing was putting my life before him. And one of the commandments that we teach our kids is, thou shalt not have any other gods outside of the Lord your God. We expect an idol to be a statue. An idol is anything that you make it. My idol was the lifestyle that I was pursuing. There's nothing wrong with those things. David was a great king. Solomon, nobody has reached his wealth. I hate to tell Trump, but what you got is chump change, boo. You ain't even scratched the surface. You think you got money, but you really don't. So my mind needed to be changed. But in order for it to be changed, I had to be broken. And I had to have those things that I thought were so important and my hands were holding on to. God had to take them forcefully, because I wasn't willingly giving it, away from me to show me that I have something better for you. Nathan had a kidney transplant 2 years ago, August 14th. Very excited about that because everything in his health history, from he's not going to make it, he's going to die, or if he does make it, he's not going to walk, or if he does do this, he's going to be developmentally delayed, or if he does do this, then this is going to happen. Every milestone and every challenge, Nathan made it, excelled it, moved on, checked mark, and kept it going. So did Miles, so did Alyssa, so did Anthony, so did I. But once we stopped after the transplant, after his kidneys failed, after we went through a whirlwind 2 years of nothing but health challenges, back to back to back to back, then everything stopped and it was calm. And I didn't know how to live in calm because that was not my life. My life was, if he gets a fever, we go to the hospital. My life was, I can't date my husband because I can't trust the babysitter because he might get sick, which he frequently did. My life is, I have a son that doesn't speak that well, so I don't want people around him because people are unbalanced and they do things to children, and he can't tell me what's going on. I can't leave them, okay? That's my life. And I expected my husband to make the same sacrifices that I was making, because I'm unbalanced and I'm throwing everything into this here. Again, it comes with breaking. When you are unbalanced, it's because you don't have God in the forefront telling you what to do with your time, okay? You can't pour all into your children and ignore your husband. That's just not gonna work out. That's not how the household is set up. He is just as important as you are, okay? And they need both of you, all right? Now, moving forward. Here's Nathan. He's healthy. He is great. He's fantastic. Everything's quiet. Anthony's working, no layoffs. He's got a trade. Miles is doing well. Pooh is doing well. Everybody's doing well except me. And all I did was cry. Really? That is a punk move. Who sits up there and cry all the time? Come on now. You done been through it, girl. You done did it. You done been sleepless nights, not eating. I used to send my sister texts of me in the hospital. Hi, it's 2:30 in the morning. What are you doing? I can't sleep. My kid is all hooked up all types of IVs. What you doing? I'm up. Wake up. Talk to me. I am used to going with no sleep. I'm used to going with no eating. I'm used to not taking care of myself because everything else was in the forefront and it just had to happen right doggone now. So now when you have all of that off of you, then what do? You are left with yourself. And I did not know what to do. It's kind of like an empty nest syndrome. When all the kids leave, what do? When that's all you've thrown yourself into. And if you're not balanced, then you don't have nothing else going on. I went walking one day because I decided that I needed to help alleviate my stress. And because I felt like my heart was going to come out of my chest and I could not cry anymore. And I had no idea why I felt the way that I felt. And I was tired of feeling the way that I felt. I am a woman of God. I am a warrior. I am strong. Why Why is it that I'm sitting up here so defeated? Why do I feel like I'm losing it? Why do I feel like I have lost my mind? Because I am depressed. What, are you not supposed to be depressed because you believe in Christ? Give me a break. I am human. I bleed just like you bleed. When I've had enough and I've reached my point, I have had enough just like you do. I am not Christ incarnate. I am a human being and I have limitations. So what do you do when you hit your wall? Because that's what I did. What I thought was the end was actually the beginning. So I went out walking one day and I am crying. I'm crying out to God. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? I have an MBA. I have a master's in secondary education. I have a BA. But if I go to fill out an application, I start crying. I start shaking. I start having an anxiety attack. I can't work because I don't know what's going on with me emotionally. My kids are at school. Everybody's left the house. Why can't I get back to the thing that I know best? Because I was at a crossroads. And either I could walk into the familiar and be miserable, or I could step out on faith and let God do the fantastic for me. That's exactly where I was. And it was not a comfortable feeling. I wish it was one of them Della Reese movies where she would like suddenly appear all in white and just be like, honey child, baby, it's going to be okay. It was not like that. I was out in the rain in a yellow poncho in my husband's sweats, looking a hot, sizzling mess. And God is like, go in the mall and go walk, you know, with the other mall walkers so you can be dry. I mean, we're just having this conversation. And I'm like, no, I don't want to walk in the mall. I got to talk to you. And I don't need nobody looking at me thinking that I'm crazy, but I really am. But I need to talk to you and I got to be where you at. In the rain for 45 minutes. And I refused to come inside because I said, you have got to talk to me. I can't talk myself off this wall. There is none of my little habits, none of the little things that normally keep my attention that can bring me up. You know, HGTV is a good piece of therapy. I love me some HGTV. It works better than penicillin, but that wasn't even working. I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to clean. I didn't want to do nothing. I was totally out of myself. And I said, this is not me. I talked to my father. I called my dad, Leonard Taylor, and I said, Dad, I'm not doing well. I'm not really sure what's going on with me. I'm not understanding where I'm at. And he's like, you'll be all right. You're strong. You'll pull yourself together. Really? It ain't working for me, and I'm tired of crying. I don't know what's going on with me. Anyway, back to the walk. Are y'all interested in this? Is this pretty cool? Okay, because I never get tired of telling it. All right, so I'm in the walk, right? So I'm outside. So I'm drenched. I'm raining. I mean, I'm crying. I'm upset. I'm hollering. I'm screaming. I'm like, you need to talk to me. You are a God who is alive and well. You're the same God that moved the Red Sea, the same God that rose Jesus up from the dead. And I know that you hear me because you declared me righteous, and I am your child, and I need to hear from you right now. Yeah, I'm having a tantrum, talking to the King of Kings. All up out of myself. I'm so glad he had grace and mercy and then just get a lightning bolt and just be like, girl, boo, bam. Go sit your crazy butt down somewhere and just sit down, like my mother would tell me to do. Sit down somewhere. Go find yourself, as my sister tells me to do. And he said nothing. Nothing. There was nothing but silence. I walked in the rain looking like a highlighter marker. For 45 minutes, I was soaked all through my clothes, and he said nothing to me. I got in the car, and I said, all right then. I done poured out. I don't know what else to do. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let this go. I believe in you too much, and I'm too scared of hell to kill myself. And I'm just going to trust that you're going to answer me. And I need an answer right now. But obviously, your timing is not my timing, which I'm really not understanding why. It's just me, you, and the sky, and a bunch of gravel and some ducks. So you can talk to me. My mind said, turn on your phone. And I've got my phone, and I've got my little podcast. And I went to one of my favorite internet preachers that were, you know, sometimes your minister will broadcast their sermon. You know, that goes to show you that when you put fruit out there, you don't always get to see your fruit, but fruit still works, okay? Because that man in California had no idea.